We're in Matthew 5, verses 1 and 2 and 9 and 10. When Jesus saw the crowds, he went up the mountain, and after he sat down, his disciples came to him. Then he began to speak, and he taught them, saying, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." So who then is our model for peacemaking? Well, the prophet Isaiah tells us, "For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders. He will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government there will be no end." And we read this prophecy as we celebrate the birth of Jesus. Jesus, the Prince of Peace, then brings wholeness and completeness to the world as he brings the world together under his reign. Jesus' rule brings restoration to individuals and to societies, to his kingdom joined for his purpose forever. His peace brings about his purpose. See, peacemakers themselves are filled with God's peace, the very quality with which they help each other. More than solving arguments, peacemakers are living evidences of God's reconciling love in Christ. And as image bearers, well, we're about the business of the kingdom, the business of being Christ in this world, the business of introducing people to Jesus and sharing why Jesus matters to us, what his life, his death, and his resurrection mean to us in this life and eternity. Friends, there is much at stake, and we must be committed and diligent peacemakers for the sake of the gospel. Yet, in Jesus' next words, there is risk. "Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." Jesus calls us to make a lifetime commitment to him and to his ways, which we know are different than the ways of the world. But why the blessing for persecution for living and following Jesus? Well, Jesus' kingdom calls for absolute love and obedience to him and his way. So why is righteousness costly? And why does Jesus say, "Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven"? Why? Because the gospel message calls us to put kingdom concerns first. And sometimes kingdom concerns run headlong into our personal concerns. Kingdom life means repenting, turning from what we want and turning toward what Jesus desires for our life. Kingdom life seeks forgiveness when we hurt others and forgiving others when they hurt us. Kingdom life means loving our enemies and turning the other cheek when we've been wronged. Kingdom life means not letting our anger fester, but to be reconciled to one another. Kingdom life means seeing the needs of others, giving sacrificially and generously of our hearts, our time, and our treasure to those in need. Righteousness calls us to live like Jesus modeled, to have the heart of a servant, selfless and others first. Righteousness concerns call us to value and treasure relationships above all else. First, our relationship with God, and then our relationship with Jesus.